everyone, Vicki Achard here with Nature's Best Art. Thank you for joining me today. Tom and I have been taking walks almost every day, and we've been seeing some beautiful spring flowers. And today I wanted to paint daffodils. Okay, this is my drawing of the daffodils. And before we transfer that on our watercolor paper or any color watercolor paper you have, I want to talk about the colors we're going to be using today. For the flowers, we're going to be using, for the light part of the flowers, azo yellow, and the darker part, Hansa yellow deep. That's M gram. All these are M gram unless I let you know they're different. Now, for the stems, we're going to be using a green gold, which is by Windsor Newton. And then we're going to be using a mix of green gold and sap green also for the stems. And the stems have a little husk on them. So we're going to be using burnt sienna for that. Now the sky, I'm going to be dropping, not mixing these two colors, but dropping the ultramarine blue for the lighter color and phthalo blue for the darker parts that I want. And the grass, I'm going to be using Hooker's green, that's by Windsor Newton, and then a sap green. And the wheat, there's a little wheat that I drew in there, and that's going to be burnt umber and burnt sienna. And I may add a little yellow ochre in there, I'm not sure yet. And for the bird, there's a few birds in my drawing. So they're going to be simply burnt sienna and burnt umber. And the watering can, I'm going to be making like a teal color, which is phthalo blue and Hooker's green mix with a lot of water. And then the butterfly, I'm going to put the darker parts, I'm going to paint the darker parts phthalo blue. And the lighter parts, I'm going to add Hooker's green to that. And so that'll make it a little lighter. And then I'm going to add probably some Payne's gray to that, which is this color here, to the butterfly. And so when you use Payne's gray, it's by Reeves. If you want it gray, you put a lot of water in. If you want it black, you don't put so much water in it. And so we're ready to transfer my drawing. I'm ready to transfer my drawing on my watercolor paper. And this is actually a foam board. If you don't have that, you can use cardboard. And I wanted to let you know the reason I have these colored already, they're the stems and the leaves, is because whenever I do a drawing and the leaves get a little crowded, I always draw them on my drawing. So I can refer back to this when I start painting it, because then I won't get mixed up. Like this one here is pretty close to that. And so I need to know that that just goes here. That's part of my leaf. And that's actually the stem. So you might get a little confused. So you might want to do that to refer to your reference photo. Okay? So, and then also daffodils are a little challenging, I find. So what I do first is you'll see me go and do the top first and then this part first. And then you'll be able to draw your petals. Now the top part of the flower, it has a little ruffly area, so make sure you get that in, and it'll help your painting, look realistic. And the darker lines there are the shadows in the flower. I want to make sure I got those in, and I'll be going in with Payne's gray with those, and then doing the stems and the leaves now. That really helped me make sure that I have the stems in the right area. It's important. And I thought that the daffodils would be pretty in a watering can. I've been wanting to paint a watering can for a while now, so I really had a lot of fun with this. I have a number of paintings that I still have on my list. Many paintings, so I'll be painting for a long time. And I just thought those birds would look cute in there, give it a little interest. And it's like the wheat and the grass area. And just a little shadow on the watering can. And this is my PBO masking fluid. And you stir it first to get the gunk out from the last time. Put a little water on your old brush and soap so that, you know, it doesn't accumulate on your brush. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to create this background wash, you know, with the sky and the grass. So I wanted to make sure I didn't cover this area. I didn't want to cover the wheat, and I didn't want to cover my grasses. Wasn't too concerned about the bird because the bird was going to be dark brown, you know, in areas. So okay, now I'm putting my wash on, and I actually put 2 layers of water in the background. So I wanted to keep it quite wet. I didn't want to create any hard edges. And what you'll see me do is, you know, in between the leaves there, of course, you know, there's the sky. And I wanted to make sure that I went in and didn't want to create any hard edges, like I said, and so I wanted to keep it quite wet. And starting with my Ultramarine Blue, which is the lighter blue, and a lot of times I'll mix the Ultramarine Blue with cerulean blue or maybe phthalo blue. This time I wanted to just keep it quite light and use the Ultramarine Blue all over. See, I got between my stems and my leaves, and so that's when I was really looking at my reference photo, and that really helped. Just a little tip for you. Like I say, you might want to color those leaves in there before you, and the stems different colors before you do that. You paint, and then now what you'll see me doing is now going in with the phthalo blue. I wanted to bring the phthalo blue, the darker color, near the flowers and between the leaves there, and give it a little bit of a shadowing there is what I did. So that worked really well. I was really pleased with how that turned out. And this teal color is, you know, real light at first. In fact, I gave a lot of my subjects, you know, just the one wash at first. And you'll see me skipping around quite a bit with this painting, going back and forth, letting things dry, or drying them with my hair dryer, and then going back and putting another glaze on things. And I wanted to have a little bit of a shadow and a little bit of a scraping there. I didn't want to make this watering can look too new, like it was used, a little rustic here and there. Some shadows, you know, like maybe the sunshine was shining on it, and making those shadows. We've been seeing some beautiful flowers. My daughter-in-law sent me a picture of my granddaughter holding hyacinths. I just love those flowers. It was really cute flower. They have a little warmer weather in their state. And okay, now here I'm putting, you know, both of the colors of the grass, and I'm putting sap green and let's see, a little of that green gold, I believe it was. Yeah, and sometimes I dry it, and sometimes I just leave it dry. And I didn't want to put too many details on the butterfly. You know, the star of the show is, you know, in this picture is the daffodils. Wanted to have those stand out, but I do add some light and dark, both to the butterfly, and use my credit card scraper to make some lines, and that always looks pretty when you use that credit card scraper. Those lines stand out, and then you put a color, you know, your paint right on those lines that you made, so they do stand out. And the daffodils, oh, okay, you saw me brushing that away. What I did was I had quite a bit of blue on my paint brush there, And when I started painting the daffodils, when I put the yellow in, it made it green. So I quickly took that paint off and washed my brush a little bit and got more of that yellow color in. So that was better. I'm painting the leaves. Green gold at first, and then my sap green. Putting that line in with the credit card. I'm using a smaller brush here. In my tighter spots, I usually switch to a smaller brush. And of course, we've been seeing some tulips. I love tulips. I made a beautiful picture, I think, of tulips last year. And this is actually my third drawing of daffodils. I have one in my watercolor gallery, but you haven't seen the other one that I painted. Oh, it was last spring. My husband has not got that printed yet, and it is really, really pretty. I really like it. Thought it made a beautiful painting. And then this one is actually, this is on a card. I think I said watercolor paper that I was using, but it's a card. I like to do my smaller designs on my cards, and these are going to be printed. I thought this design would make a really very cheerful card to send somebody, and have that in our collection. And now I'm putting the Payne's Gray, the shadows, on the I think this is my second time I'm doing this. I think I went once, and now I'm just putting a little bit more definition all over, anywhere I could see that I thought that I needed it, or that the flowers, needed the shadow. And yep, putting that shadow in some more. Taking a little of that paint off, giving it some highlights. And then you'll see me going back and forth with the flowers, and putting some more yellow in. I wanted to put a little brighter yellow, covering up a little bit of that green that it made. And so that took it out. I probably put about 3 glazes of that yellow, and the darker yellow here and there where I wanted that. And I'm just painting the stems and the husk. Daffodils have husks, so they're a little brown on top by the stem, the top of the stem. And now I'm defining the watering can with my shadows. That's a Payne's Gray. And especially the bottom there. When I added the green for the grass, that bottom didn't show up very much. So I wanted to make sure that the bottom of the can showed up better. And now I'm putting another glaze with those beautiful colors. Phthalo blue and Hooker's green mix, and just love that color. I got it as dark as I could. I wanted some contrast from the sky. I think I even went in another time. And the birds, I wanted to keep like the butterfly, not many details. And maybe they're like, I was thinking maybe little house wrens, or just little brown birds. the Tulip Festival in May. We always have in Michigan, here in Holland, Michigan. We went a couple years ago and really enjoyed that. Um, Holland, Michigan is a wonderful place to visit if you ever get a chance. Um, I suppose it shouldn't be anytime soon this year, though, unfortunately. We've had to cancel a few trips. I'm sure you have too. Now I'm putting some shadows in under my bird and the watering can, making that darker, the bottom of it. And now I'm looking at my picture and making sure that I like everything, and I think that the stems of the flower should be a little bit more distinguished. So I added Hooker's Green, and that really helped. And then I put the husks a little darker, and then you'll see me putting a highlight on those husks. That means just putting your brush in the water and wiping it with a towel and then making some highlights. Now I'm starting to make highlights. I always do this at the end of my paintings to see where I can just give your eye a little rest. And then the highlights would be where maybe the sun is shining on the leaves, the petals, the bird. So I did that, and I thought that looked so much nicer. There we go, all those highlights. And I'm going to be using my fan brush and putting my grass in. And I went in with sap green, green gold, and also at the end there I wanted another variation. So I added Hooker's Green, because if I was thinking about the sun shining on the grass, or grass is different colors here and there. And now I'm going to be taking my masking fluid off with my rubber cement eraser. You'll need something, you can do it with your finger, but it's quite hard on the fingers. And then see all that gunk that I got on there, then you just cut it off, and that'll give you a new place to use to take some more off. Those are really nice erasers if you use masking fluid. And I wanted to leave a few of the grass blades so that I could actually paint with my brush. I'm going in there. What I'll do on those grass blades is I'll actually go in with about 3 colors. So it takes a little bit of time, and that's why I speed my videos up too. I'm a pretty particular painter, and it takes a bit of time, so I don't want to. I appreciate you staying to the end of the video with me, and don't want to make it too long for you. But that's what I did. I went in with 3 different colors, those grass blades there. And then the wheat, I made burnt umber and burnt sienna. So the burnt sienna is what I did first. I just fixed that. I got a little bit of green on that one petal I wanted to fix. So there I go in with my burnt sienna first. That's my lighter color on the wheat. And then I went in with my darker color. Then I kind of spotted it here and there. I didn't want it. I wanted to have some variation in those blades. So did that. And I'm so glad that I decided to actually make, not just the daffodils. Like I said, I did do it last year. I painted it last year. My husband has to print that one. So now I have one in my gallery that I first did with watercolor pencils, actually, and now I am fixing that. I wrote my name, and I left a little masking fluid on there, so I took that off, and I'm fixing the blade there of the grass. Take my tape off, and I just think this is so cheerful. I just am so happy with it, and I hope it makes you happy too. So please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and share it with a friend. I'm clapping because it just makes me happy to look at it. So until next time, happy creating.